Six Flags Great Adventure is the premier amusement park in the New York City metro market. This Jackson, New Jersey theme park is a destination for thrill seekers with 14 different roller coasters, including the world's tallest roller coaster in Kingda, the acclaimed Toro wooden roller coaster, and the brand new Jersey Devil coaster. But this park also has some record-breaking flat rides, some surprising dark rides, and even a full-fledged safari. So in this video, I will rank the top 25 rides and attractions at Six Flags Great Adventure. Number 25, Teacups. This is a very good spinning ride. Supplied by Zamperla, these teacups are super easy to spin, so you're in for a dizzying good time if you want one. Number 24, Congo Rapids. This Intamin River Rapids ride has a simple layout. It's just a rectangle, but it does offer some neat views of the Jersey Devil coaster, and the rest of the ride feels pretty secluded with all those trees. There aren't many rapids though, but there are two colossal ones that'll completely soak you to the bone if they hit you. Number 23, Mill Log Flume. This aero log ride has a weird elevated layout off in the woods. This setting is the ride's strength because the drops are pretty average on this one. Number 22, Twister. This is America's last Huss topspin, and while it doesn't have the craziest cycle, there is a short chain of forceful flips at the start. The middle of the ride does nothing, and then the finale has a long stall that comes about as close to inverting you as it can without actually doing so. Number 21, Houdini's Great Escape. This Vekoma Madhouse is one of the park's best themed attractions. The pre-show tells the story of the famed magician's death and your involvement in his newest trick. The main ride has a great inverting effect between the themed room and the well-timed motion of the seats. Number 20, Slingshot. This upcharge attraction blasts riders 220 feet, or 67 meters into the sky. The initial launch is okay and about on par with an S&S Space Shot, but that flip at the apex is very thrilling between its speed and visuals. The ride may be a one-trick pony in my opinion, but it is a fun, albeit costly trick. 19, SkyScreamer. This Funtime Starflyer has a short cycle consisting of 2 ascents, but it offers a decent view of the park. At the same time, you get some light G's and a cool breeze as your swings dance in the wind. The ride is extra magical during holiday in the park when you can see the park's dazzling lights from above. Just know it's going to be frigid. Number 18, Dark Knight. This indoor mock coaster is one of the best wild mice coasters out there. This one has very minimal braking, so you'll get some great laterals in the hairpin turns in the first half, and then the second half you'll get a little bit of airtime on the drops. While the theming isn't on Disney's level, the few sets and scenes do enhance the ride, including an effective jump scare at the end. Number 17, Skull Mountain. This quirky indoor Intamin coaster looks well themed from the outside, but the ride takes place in a dark box. Make sure to ride this one in the back and you'll get a nice pop of ejector airtime on the first drop. The rest of the ride has a lot of meandering, but you will likely hear some heavy metal music while your eyes lock with the rainbow-eyed skull statue late in the ride. If that sounds random, that's the extent of Skull Mountain's theming. Number 16, Runaway Mine Train. This aero mine train has a scenic layout through the woods and over the water. This ride has a few jerky turns towards the start, but it has a really nice finale. The final bunny hill delivers a shocking pop of ejector airtime no matter where you're sitting. It's one of the best airtime moments in the entire park. Up next would have been Rolling Thunder. This dual-track wooden coaster was removed after 2013. Most of my rides on this old wooden coaster were slow and boring, but my final rides on a super rainy afternoon had it running better than ever. The first half still crawled, but the return run delivered some surprising floater airtime. Number 15, Cyborg Cyberspin. This ABC Tourbillon gets a lot of flack for its downtime, which is warranted, and it can give a lackluster ride. But I've had good luck getting a ride loaded with flips start to finish, as long as it isn't fully loaded. Under those conditions, I was getting hang time non-stop throughout the ride. And if you sit on the end, you'll also get some amazing foot choppers with the frame. And there's no denying how visually stunning this ride looks, both on and off ride. Number 14, Joker. This S&S free spin is a chaotic but comfortable ride experience. I usually get a strong flip off the lift hill, and then 2 to 3 others on the rest of the layout. I know this ride has been cloned ad nauseum, but I don't mind because the experience contrasts with the rest of the park nicely. Number 13, Wonder Woman Lasso of Truth. This Zamperla Giga Discovery is the world's tallest pendulum ride. I personally prefer the slightly smaller giant Discoveries because they have more max swings in the cycle, but this ride still has sustained floater airtime on the ones it offers, plus great speed and G's on the downswings. Number 12, Superman Ultimate Flight. This Balzer Mabillard flying coaster has one insane moment surrounded by grace. The positive G's on the pretzel loop are some of the craziest in any ride, but the rest of Superman has relaxing turns that rely more on the visuals and the forces, and that's fine, but it does make it the weakest of the park's 5 B&Ms. Number 11, Daredevil Dive. This Sky coaster is yet another upcharge on this list, but it's especially worth it if it's discounted as it sometimes is for Holiday in the Park. Pulling the ripcord to initiate a pure freefall is a rush, and that drop is scarier than any element on any of Great Adventure's coasters. Number 10, Justice League Battle for Metropolis. This interactive shooting dark ride is a wonderful change of pace from the park's thrill rides. The effects always seem to work in this one. The physical props in between screens are a nice touch, but the focal point are the screens. There are plenty of targets to shoot at, and I love how the famous DC characters were integrated into the experience. I do find the final scene a bit dark and chaotic, but everything else that precedes it is very good. Number 9, Green Lantern. This B&M stand-up coaster is a powerhouse. The valleys will make your legs feel like jelly as the positive G's try to slam you through the floor. I know that sensation is not for everyone, but I can tolerate the show of power. I also make sure to get the bike seat well below my crotch and my ears above the top of the shoulder restraint to prevent any other pain occurring during the ride. Number 8, Bizarro. The original B&M Floorless Coaster is a ride that grew on me in my 2021 rides, after I got a series of rides in the back row. Back there, many of the 7 inversions delivered some sort of hang time. The standout element is still the very snappy 0G roll, and I also love the crazy head chopper with the spiky auger during the corkscrews. Number 7, Zumanjaro Drop of Doom. This giant Intamin drop tower is built in the side of Kingda, and while I've yet to experience the two operating simultaneously, I still really like Zumanjaro. You feel every bit of this ride's 415 foot or 126 meter tall height, and the view of the park is incredible. The drop is a rush too. It starts with no warning, and the drop seems to last forever as you keep building up more and more speed. I go into more detail in a separate review, but this is a fun drop tower. Number 6, Batman the Ride. This B&M inverted coaster was the second of this popular clone built, but it still delivers a great ride. The inversions are forceful and snappy. The turns have the blood rush to your feet. And then the ride is still pretty smooth after nearly 3 decades of operation. Number 5, the Safari. Whether it's operating with the tram out of the amusement park, or as a separate drive-through attraction, this is a can't-miss experience while at Great Adventure. The route brings you very close to a lot of impressive animals. Some will even run in front of the road. You have giant elephants, you have picturesque giraffes, and then you have predators such as tigers, and later an entire bear area. You will see so many famous animals here. I know people who hate amusement rides, but go to Great Adventure just for the safari. It's that good. Number 4, Kingda. The world's tallest and formerly fastest roller coaster may be over in a flash, but it's a pure adrenaline rush and one that I love. This Intamin hydraulic launch coaster has a very strong start. There's no countdown for the launch, so it really catches you off guard and it forcefully yanks you forwards. It's one of the best launches in the world, and the sense of speed is especially unreal up front. Then the top hat offers a good pop of airtime at the top, a brief but amazing view, and a lateral heavy descent. After some powerful positive G's on the pullout, you then have some very weak floater airtime on one final hill before hitting the brakes. I always hit the brake run this coaster speechless, and I talk about it more in a separate review. Number 3. Nitro. This may be one of the older B&M hypers, but it's still a good one. This ride delivers floater airtime in droves. Every single hill will have you levitating out of your seat for a few seconds. Some of B&M's later hypers have more forceful airtime, but this one still has one of the best settings in the woods. And Great Adventure's willingness to run this coaster in super cold and windy conditions has resulted in some funny rides over the years. Rides in the frigid cold feel like they'll rip my face off, and sometimes the mid-course brake run will be disabled in these conditions, which will give the return run the power of Fury 325's final hills. Although when that happens, the first half is really weak, so it evens out. I go into more detail in a separate review, but this ride complements the top 2 coasters on this list well. Number 2. Jersey Devil Coaster. Great Adventure's newest coaster, and first RMC creation, came closer to number 1 than you may expect. If you ride this coaster in the very back, you're in for a wild ride. The first drop is one of the best out there, with the intense ejector airtime. The dive loop offers some great laterals plus some airtime. The stall and 0G roll offer insane hang time with some sneaky laterals. And then the ride has several other decent airtime hills as well, especially now that the mid-course brake run barely will slow you down. While the seating position is a bit awkward straddling the track, the ride is smooth, and it's a well-paced experience with plenty of fun elements, and I talk about it more in a separate review. And coming in at number 1 is El Toro. America's only prefabricated Intamin wood coaster is wonderful. It has one of the best starts on any coaster. The first drop delivers sustained and very powerful ejector airtime in the back. And then there are 2 camelbacks that deliver some of the strongest and most sustained ejector airtime of any coaster, no matter where you're sitting. They are spectacular. Then you have the famous Rolling Thunder Hill midway through the ride with similarly strong airtime. The rest of the ride is merely decent, but still fun. The middle has some floater airtime, and then the finale has a series of low, snappy, and fast turns. The park has done a pretty good job keeping this coaster smooth over the years, but there are some bumps along the way, particularly on that first turnaround. El Toro is a borderline top 10 wood coaster for me, and I go into more detail in a separate review. So those are my top 25 best rides and attractions at Six Flags Great Adventure. This is really one of the strongest Six Flags parks for both coasters and non-coasters. What are your favorite rides at Great Adventure? Or thoughts on any of the rides I mentioned? Likewise, let me know if there's a ride I missed. If you enjoyed this countdown, I'd appreciate it if you gave this video a like, and you considered subscribing, because there'll be a lot more roller coaster and amusement park videos here at Canopy Coaster. Thanks for watching.